the Beef Improvement Federation Symposium is coming to Canada. Stay tuned to find out more. Welcome back to another episode of The Bovine. I'm your host, Debra Murphy, and thanks, of course, to our partners at Alberta Beef Industry Conference and Zimpro Performance Minerals. Zimpro minerals help animals achieve stronger nutritional status, enhancing growth while benefiting both producers and consumers. And joining me now is Kajal Devani, who's a board member on the Beef Improvement Federation. And I guess that's where we start. What is the Beef Improvement Federation, or BIF?
Well, thanks, Deborah, for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity to tell you what the Beef Improvement Federation is. It's an organization dedicated to advancing and coordinating all segments of the beef industry. So BIF has, from the beginning, sought to connect science and industry to help improve beef cattle genetics. One of the first projects that BIF worked on was to develop a way of standardizing all performance records across the beef cattle breeds, both nationally and internationally. And the result of the project is what we call today expected progeny differences, or EPDs. So, used universally now today, globally accepted as the gold standard genetic selection tool for genetic improvement that initiated from BIF. So really we work towards making recommendations for how you define traits that are economically and socially relevant, how do you measure performance for those traits, and then how do you use that data and translate it into genetic selection tools for producers. So that's really what we do all year long. We have a wiki page with our recommendations. You can find all of this information at beefimprovement.org if producers and your listeners are wanting more information. And then to help with that extension piece and that communication piece, and to bring producers into the conversation of what we work on all year long, we hold a symposium annually. Now, we haven't hosted the symposium in Canada since 2008. But we're really excited to be hosting it this year, 2023, July 3rd to 6th.
So, and that kind of brings me to my question about, just how much do people know about BIF? Obviously, in the genetics world, it's probably a very well-known federation, but what about for beef producers? Is that part of the reason why this feels like a very new thing, even though it's not?
That's a great question. Yes, so I think the people that have been exposed to BIF and have had the opportunity to come to a BIF symposium, they come again and again and again because it's such a good experience. Now, unfortunately, I think we haven't done as good a job about it in Canada. So there are a lot of Canadian producers that I know would be thrilled to be part of this conversation, to receive some of this information, that just aren't aware of the Beef Improvement Federation. So my goal, and I know everybody on the organizing committee that's worked with me to bring this conference or symposium to Canada, as well as CBBC, who are the official hosts, really want to make sure that our producers are in the know of it and feel welcome to come and join in and participate in the symposium this year.
Sometimes it feels a bit like there's conferences and events every other day.
Yes.
And we have Canadian Beef Industry Conference coming up. We're at the Alberta Beef Industry Conference right now.
That's right.
Why should a producer, or what does BIF offer maybe that a producer could consider going to many of these and still benefiting?
Yes, that's something that's really different about BIF. So, like I said, the primary objective and mission for BIF is genetic improvement. And, I've had such a great time at the Alberta Beef Industry Conference that we're at right now, having that FaceTime with producers and industry partners again. But the theme and the information that is being presented here, it's very generalized, right? We've had some great keynote speakers. We've talked about politics. Art Douglas is on right now talking about weather. I love his presentation on weather because that's a conversation you have with every producer. Mm-hmm. It's so important to everybody. But BIF is really focused on genetic improvement. The tools and technology that we can use to collect information, and how we translate that information into genetic improvement and genetic selection tools. So it's a very focused conference, and I think that especially this year in particular, our theme is precision breeding, and we're going to showcase a lot of the cutting edge technology, really, new technology that is being developed to help producers collect that information and also perhaps benchmark what their costs are, create their genetic selection goals, identify if this is my market, I should be including these traits in my goals. If we're talking about sustainability and environmental impact, did you know you can actually use these technologies to measure things like feed intake and feed efficiency or greenhouse gas emissions? So I think this is a conference really aimed at helping producers create their genetic selection goals and objectives and learn about tools that can help them realize those goals. So a very direct conference in regards to what the theme is and what the information that will be included is.
We talked to Sandy Russell earlier of the Canadian Beef Breeds Council about, Genetics 101.
Yes.
Will there be some overwhelming presentations, or I know that you said extension is a part of the focus. Could any beef producer show up and understand what's going on?
Absolutely, yes. 90% of BIF participants are producers, and the content is always designed to be not just to be assimilated by producers, but it's actually a discussion. So we use this time not just to present what we've been working on in the past year to producers, but also to help drive what we work on in the next year. So it's a discussion to producers where we say, this is some new technology. These are new tools that have been developed, and this is how BIF recommends we use them. And then it's a discussion about, well, how do you think this will bring value to your operation? What is happening on your operation that we need new tools about? So it's really a two-way discussion. It is not a, I'll say, super science, high-tech, academic conference. This is truly, it is scientific, but it's truly a producer conversation.
It's more engagement than extension, really.
Exactly, yeah.
It sounds like it's coming up soon, right? June?
It is.
So what are...
July.
July.
So
what
July
are the...
6th to July 3rd to 6th.
Okay,
yes.
So you must have some deadlines coming up for registration?
We do. Actually, early bird registration is on and available right now. So if people go to beefimprovement.org, they're able to access our registration link. And early bird registration expires at the end of February. So if you want to save a little bit of money, that would be a great way to do it. Students are also welcome to come participate, because we really want the students that are looking to have a career in the beef industry and agriculture to come and be part of this conversation right now, so that they can have a great foundation on not only what we're doing now and what the gold standards are, but what are the requirements for later, because they could be inspired by that. So there is student registration as well, and I'd love to tell you about an opportunity for producers if producers are looking to participate in BIF 2023. We do have a Rancher Resilience Grant. It's a grant that's designed to support cattle producers' attendance to impactful educational events. It's made possible by a partnership between the National Cattlemen's Foundation and Cargill Protein, and it's administered by the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, or NCBA, in the U.S. However, Canadian producers are also eligible for the Resilience Grant. So when they go to the registration page, they're able to also access a link to the Rancher Resilience Grant, and they can apply online. All they have to do is fill out the form, send in a selfie of them at the conference, enjoying the conference, and the grant will cover their expenses to come to BIF as well.
So they can just basically go to the conference for free?
Exactly.
That's
well,
amazing.
free is I think producers will say it's not free. It's still my time, and we really
Yes, of
appreciate
course.
their
Yes.
time. Yes, absolutely. Really appreciate their time off the farm. I know it's a commitment. Like you said, there's a lot of conferences and options, but we think that this one's a really important one. We're going to showcase a lot of technology that's developed in Canada, so I'm excited to do that as a Canadian and a geneticist in Canada. And I think it's going to be really fun. I also think this conference, particularly because it's in Canada and we have such strong working relationships globally, we're going to see a lot of producers from New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, sort of all over the world. I went to a conference last week, talked to somebody from Czech Republic or Czechia, and they were excited to come to BIF. So I think this is an excellent opportunity for our producers too to build their network to a global level.
Well, it kind of opens your eyes. It makes you step out of the box when you talk to people from other areas of the world and how they're doing things.
Yes, we really all have the same problems, and we can learn the best solutions from each other as well.
Well, very good. Because there's a deadline coming up for the conference, that means there's a deadline for my podcast. So I better start editing it. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it, Debra. Thank you so much.
That was Kajal Devani, a board member on the Beef Improvement Federation. And thank you again, Zimpro. Zimpro is making all of our podcasts possible here at the Alberta Beef Industry Conference. To learn more about Zimpro Performance Minerals, visit zimpro.com.